Hello, my name is Kiriath and we're back with more Warhammer 40k, and today we're going to talk about the Craftworld focus for Ulthwé. So we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to dive straight in, straight off the bat. We're going to look at the Craftworld attributes, see what that's got for us. Ulthwé, Foresight of the Damned. All Eldar, I'm getting closer. Every time I pronounce it, I'm getting a little bit closer to what it might be, are psychically attuned, but none more so than those of Ulthwé. Perhaps tainted by their long proximity to the Eye of Terror, their intuition borders well into prescience. That's kind of sort of seeing the future a little bit, just in case. Just in case. You might not know. I'm just throwing it out there. Roll a d6 each time a model with this attribute loses a wound. On a 6, that wound is ignored. Oh. Okay, if a model has a similar ability, e.g. the Hemlock Wraithfighter's Spirit Stones ability, they couldn't have picked something a bit shorter. Okay, or the Farseer's Ghost Helm ability, that's more like it. You can choose which ability to use when a model loses a wound, but you cannot use both. Okay. Sure. That's kind of underwhelming, I'll be honest. That's kind of... I mean, it's just feel no pain. It's just, that's all it is. And if it... Yeah, if it doesn't stack with similar abilities... So, I mean, I would... As we were reading that, I was like, well, if it stacks with other stuff, that'd be kind of cool. You know, you could have it so that it adds like a +1 to it. So it could be, you know, eventually you could get down to like a 4, you ignore the wound or something, based on other stuff. But if it doesn't stack, if it's just feel no pain on a 6, that's kind of... I mean, I guess it kind of fits being aware of stuff and, you know, having that almost kind of ability to see fragments of the future, maybe. I'm really underwhelmed by that, I'll be honest. I'm totally like, that's... I guess it kind of fits, but it's just not exciting. And if it doesn't stack with other stuff, if you have to choose, but you can't use... maybe the way that's worded, maybe the second part, it would work with other stuff. Kind of, I mean, the fact that it's a similar ability, I mean, if it's a similar ability, that does kind of imply that you well, it says you have to choose which ability to use, but you can't use both, so you can't just apply one to the other. That, not the best start, I'll be honest with you, not the best start. I mean, they say it's the most versatile of the new Craftworld attributes, acting as a flat universal bonus to the durability of the Azriani. On more fragile units, this additional save helps compensate for toughness 3, while tanks and wraith constructs are even harder to kill and gain some additional resilience against mortal wounds. This is all true, this is all accurate, like, they're not lying to you, or me, but I don't know, that just doesn't seem that... Just, yeah, let's move on, because I can only say underwhelming so many times before it starts to lose meaning as a word. But yeah, just not feeling that. Not feeling it at all for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because we've already had so many... I say so many, I can't remember how many examples of, like, a feel no pain we've had, but we've had a couple at this point, I'm sure we have. I'm sure between Chaos and Space Marines at the very least, we've had a couple of examples of it. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's better. Okay, Guardians. This is best units. Guardians. You'd kind of hope so because of the Black Guardians. They'll still be the mainstay of your army, having received several indirect improvements with stratagems and Craftworld attributes at no increase in points cost. But that's... Well, no, they wouldn't have an increase in points cost for stratagems and Craftworld attributes, would they? That's a very weird thing to say. That's a really weird thing to point out, to be honest. Having received several indirect improvements with stratagems and Craftworld attributes at no increase in points cost, the implication there is that some units would have an increase in points cost because of stratagems and attributes, or, you know, regiments or chapter tactics or legion tactics or whatever. But has that even been the case in the past? Why specify that? It's like they just wanted to shoehorn the fact that there's no points cost increase, but also wanted to make it look like they've improved, when actually the reading of that is that there's no increase in stats, there's no improvement in stats. It's just they're the same as they were, and there's no points cost increase. Well, good. That's how it should be. That's weird. That's just a weird sentence. I don't know why they put that in there. Statistically speaking, you'll get more out of foresight of the downed on larger units, while the lower armor saves of the Guardians are vastly improved by an additional chance of saving a wound. Ulthwé armies also have access to a unique stratagem designed to represent the superior discipline of the famed Black Guardians. Discipline of the Black Guardians. Ulthwé stratagem, 1 command point. The Black... Oh, hang on, let me show you. You can read it yourself, just in case I'm lying. The Black Guardians of Ulthwé are professional soldiers that have a discipline and skill exceeding that of their kin in other Craftworlds. Use this stratagem at the start of the shooting or fight phase. Pick an Ulthwé Guardian unit from your army. Add 1 to all hit rolls made for that unit until the end of the phase. So there are no just Black Guardians anymore, is what that means. All Guardians are just Guardians, and then you can spend 1 command point to make 1 unit of Guardians Black Guardians for 1 phase. That's taking a lot of the flavour away, isn't it? I mean, I guess they're still technically Black Guardians, but they're not actually in practice going to be any different to normal Guardians until you give them the stratagem that will make them slightly better. I'm really not feeling this one at all. I'm really not feeling it. I mean, even you know, disregarding the kind of copy-paste feel of the attribute. As I said with the Iyanden focus, I'm not a huge Eldar guy, but I know that Black Guardians and Ulthwé are fairly heavily tied together. And I say tied together, the Black Guardians of Ulthwé, but you get what I mean. Like I know that Black Guardians are a thing. I know that they're a thing of Ulthwé, and now there's no Black Guardians except if you use a stratagem in 1 command point, then you get Black Guardians, but only 1 unit of Black Guardians and only for 1 phase. That's like, I mean, talk about removing the flavour from an army. What the hell is that? I don't know how you do it so that it's like more represented on the tabletop in terms of rules for Black Guardians, but I mean they've had their own rules in the past. Why have they not got their own rules now? Why have they just got this weak source stratagem shit? I'm really not feeling this. Jesus. Okay, it could get better. It's fine. Soldier on. The Path of Command. Masters of the Asuryani Arts of War. Autarchs are unrivaled strategists and inspiring battle leaders. Okay, so you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Craftworld units, so this just will apply to all of them, within 6 inches of this model. In addition, if your army is battle-forged and this model is your warlord on the battlefield, roll a d6 for each command point spent when using stratagems. On a 6, that command point is immediately refunded. Note that for Prince Uriel, the first effect of this ability applies specifically to Iyanden units. Note that for Prince Uriel, the first effect of this ability applies specifically to Iyanden units. Okay, I see. No, that's fine. Alright, I get it. I mean, that's fine, but that's not Ulthwé specific, is it? That's just that's just something that you get, the Path of Command. So that's to do with Autarchs. That's not specifically Ulthwé. All right. Let's carry on. Another stratagem for all Craftworld: Celestial Shield. Guardians are sometimes equipped with artifacts known as Celestial Shields, psychically activated force fields that allow them to weather enemy firepower at a vital moment in battle. Use this stratagem in the enemy shooting phase. When a friendly Guardian unit is chosen to target for an attack, that unit has a 4+ invulnerable save for the rest of that shooting phase. Now that's nice. I quite like that. I do like that. That feels kind of fluffy. That feels kind of good. But again, that's not specific to Ulthwé. The 2 Ulthwé specific things so far have been, one's been bland and one has been like, we're removing a unit and giving you a stratagem that can only affect 1 unit for 1 phase instead, and that does not feel good to me. That doesn't feel great. Even as someone who doesn't have an Ulthwé army, that feels kind of sucky. So I don't know how you guys are feeling, those of you who've got big Ulthwé armies, but yeah. Anyway, Eldred Ulthran, let's take a look at this dude. Maybe he is the one to. I mean, that is such a good model though. I really like that model. Really solid work there. Maybe he will be the redeeming factor. Maybe he will be the thing that I look at and go, alright, yes, like it. Okay, so between a considerable cut in points, that's gotta be good, right? And the vastly expanded Runes of Fate discipline, Eldred Ulthran makes for the perfectly different Ulthwé army. And yes, they had to get that in there. They had to get it in. It helps be available to pre-order in plastic. Yep. While you'll be spoiled for choice of what powers to take on Eldred, we recommend Mind War, a deadly new way of dealing with particularly troublesome characters. So, the Psyker reaches out to attack the mind of an enemy in a desperate mental duel. Foes find their thoughts invaded by the crushing presence of the invader, whose ancient and inscrutable will triggers a cascade of psychosomatic trauma by extinguishing their victim's personality with horrific ease. Jesus Christ, chill out. What the hell is that? Mind War has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, choose an enemy character model with an 18 inch of the Psyker. Each player then rolls a d6 and adds their model's leadership characteristic to the result. If your opponent scores higher, or if the scores are drawn, nothing happens. If the Psyker score is higher, the target suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the difference between the two scores. I like that. I will like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And as they point out, combine this ability with a nearby Hemlock Wraith Fighter, which reduces enemy leadership by 2, a unit of Warlocks casting Horrify, which reduces it by 1, and you could easily cut down a Key Commissar or even a Space Marine Ancient with a deadly deluge of mortal wounds. Okay, yeah, no, that's I like that, but I mean, it says mind. I mean, it depends entirely on whether Mind War will only be available to Eldred Ulthran, or whether it will be available to others. The implication, I was going to say the implication that it's more just for him, but that could just be me reading far too much into it. In fact, it probably is. Looking at it, I don't really see anything that suggests that's only him. It just says you're spoiled for choice. But we recommend this in a deadly new way, which it clearly is. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. And at the bottom it says that the next one will be Biel-Tan, alongside a new stratagem that will make your Avatar of Cain all but invincible. Okay. To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen an Avatar of Cain do anything impressive ever. And let's face it, the poor lad gets absolutely cacked on in the lore, just gets murdered by everybody, just to show how tough the other thing is. He's got, what is it, Lieutenant Worf syndrome or something? Okay, look, Ulthwé, I'll be honest, especially after Iyanden, because I felt like Iyanden was pretty good. I like the improvements. I like the increases to toughness and stuff that the Wraith constructs got. I like the, as someone said to me on Twitter, the blendy boys for the Wraith blades. That nice synergy between their ability and, you know, dealing loads and loads of wounds, 60 attacks and all that for a bit of a high risk, high reward maneuver. I like all of that stuff. In comparison, Ulthwé just feels kind of dull. The attribute just it feels like a copy paste, and that's it. The fact that it doesn't seem to stack, or at least the way they've phrased it and the examples they've given, it doesn't stack with. That's kind of poor. I'll be honest. I don't know why you wouldn't allow that to. Well, I mean, presumably there's some balance reason, but on the face of it, it's just like reading it. It's just underwhelming. It's like, yeah. And as I say, even as someone who doesn't know a huge amount about Eldar, even as someone who doesn't have an Eldar army, taking away Black Guardians and just making it a stratagem that applies to one unit for like one phase, I don't know what the thinking is behind that. I mean, I guess you can't just have multiple types of Guardians that are better than normal Guardians and all this stuff, but Black Guardians are so core to Ulthwé, aren't they? Aren't they like properly just? It just feels off. It just feels off. That just feels off. The actual ability isn't bad. You know, the stratagem isn't bad. Adding one to hit rolls is not a bad thing, but taking away Black Guardians and then making it so that it's just a one-shot thing, or at least a stratagem, and it's just like, there you go, now they're Black Guardian. Oh no, they're not anymore. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well. But I'll be interested to see what you think. I mean, am I overreacting to this? Is it as bland as it feels like, or is it actually pretty good? Let me know in the comments below, because I just feel like I've been massively underwhelmed here, and I want to know what you think. I always do. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Hopefully Biel-Tan will be a bit more interesting, a bit more fun, and although I will say, do like Mind War. Mind War's kind of cool, and I do like Celestial Shield, but Celestial Shield isn't Ulthwé specific, and Mind War, it depends entirely on whether that is just an Eldred Ulthwé ability, or whether it's something that other psykers can take. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. There's the usual array of crap to click all over the screen. You can click it if you want to. You don't click if you don't want to. It's up to you. Live your life how you please. And I will see you for the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Toodaloo.